6 yards on the play. Good run. Size-wise, Cass Tech has the advantage on the line. De La Salle, not a very big team up front.
Well, Jeff, I can look at Cass Tech's offensive line and look at number 79, who's B, and look at Warren De La Salle's offensive line. He probably outweighs their whole defensive line by himself.
2nd down and 4 for the Pilots. Myernick gets the call again, and he's close to a De La Salle first down, right inside the 40. Might be a first down, and it is.
Well, Jeff, their game plan is obvious, as we said on the first series. De La Salle is going to be content to run the football, and if they can establish that running game, which they did on the first drive until that fumble, Cass is going to have all kinds of problems when they decide to go play action pass.
First down for the Pilots. Ball right at the 40-yard line of De La Salle. Here's the give once again to tailback Matt Myernick. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Right?
You're doing a good job, Jeff. That's about his 7th carry early in this ball game. Stamina of this kid, if he's going to be able to take the pounding from Cass Tech's defensive line for 25, 30 carries a game. I guess we'll just have to stick around till the end of the ball game and see.
And like we said at the top, De La Salle not a rushing team. Most of their great yardage has been coming through the air. And now Cass Tech's defense stepping it up a little bit. And only about a 2-yard pickup for Matt right there.
Well, Jeff, I think that we kind of misstated about De La Salle's running game because we were comparing them to Cass Tech. You know and I know there's not any other team in the state pretty much that compares to Cass Tech's rushing game. So De La Salle actually does have a good rushing team with over 1,000 yards on the season. I mean, but when you put those numbers up against Cass Tech, which doubles their number, I mean, it looks small in comparison.
Yes, in comparison to one player on the Cass Tech team. Back to pass. De La Salle feeling the pressure. The short pass to Myernick. And he stopped short of the first down. A fine open field tackle there by the linebacker for Detroit Cass Tech, number 55. That's Kevin Mitchell.
Yeah, and the reason that pass got off was because number 53 for Cass Tech, Derek Register, who was in hot pursuit of the quarterback.
Yes.
And if that quarterback had set up and planted to throw, it would have been lights out for him.
Clarence Williams back deep around the 15-yard line. He lets it bounce a little bit. Thought about picking it up, and Cass Tech will start their offensive series at the 9-yard line, their own 9-yard line, deep in the shadows of their own end zone.
Well, that was another example of how much of an outstanding ball player Clarence Williams is. He used a bit of discretion when fielding that ball. He was hoping to get the roll to go in the end zone, but he wasn't going to take a chance of trying to field it with 5 or 6 De La Salle defenders in the area.
3:37 as the clock continues to run here in the first quarter. It's the state playoff game. Cass Tech and De La Salle. Cass Tech, the champions of the public school league, and that was their first championship ever in the Detroit Public School League.
Yes, it was, and congratulations to all the Cass Tech alumni. And I'd also like to concede to one of our audio people for Barden Cable, Miss Nicole, who told me that Cass Tech was going to win. She really made me look like a genius last week, and I just wanted to let the folks at home know.
Second down and 9 for the technicians. Williams gets it, trying to get outside, and he's pulled down by number 16, Mark Julian, from his defensive quarterback position. You know, once you start competing in the states, and I think this is where Cass Tech has a definite advantage, a lot of times you're not going to run into too many teams without units on defense and offense. You're going to find a lot of people going both ways. And I think De La Salle has a few good guys that are going both ways. And that's when you wear down those good teams who have all season long have had guys going both ways, and you can bring fresh people in to do the job on it.
That's right, Jeff. That's the fresh leg factor. There is no substitute for it.
3rd down and 7 for the technicians. Scott with the pitch to Williams. Williams trying to break it outside once again, and he's going to be well short of a first down for Cass Tech. So the punt unit comes on as the offensive unit goes off. And going back deep for De La Salle is Jason Solinsky, number 23, and also Matt Milnerick, number 28.
Why do I get the feeling we're going to be calling this kid's name a lot today, Jeff?
Minute 30 here as the clock ticks. Woodard back to punt. Had to move a little to his right for the snap. Gets this one up, though. And it takes a De La Salle bounce, and it's going to be marked right inside the 35-yard line of Cass Tech. So De La Salle with excellent field position.
Well, that time one of the Cass Tech ball players, number 41 on the special teams, Doug Island, made a mistake. That ball bounced straight up in the air, and he didn't know which way it was going to bounce, and he grabbed it. It could have possibly bounced the other way for Warren De La Salle, but then on the other hand, it could have bounced back towards Cass's goal line. But I think he jumped the gun in touching the ball.
And that one's tipped and almost picked off. Tipped at the line of scrimmage by Carlton Sykes, who got his hands up in the face of the quarterback that time. Excellent defensive play. Got his hands up in the face of Mark Julian, and here it is again.
Yeah, the quarterback's taking a short drop trying to hit the receiver on a timing route, and Carlton Sykes is having none of it. He timed his leap perfectly, and that's what you need to do as a ball player. Get up and get your hands in the air if you can't get to the quarterback. He almost turned that into a defensive touchdown for Cass Tech.
And almost picked it off. I formation for the Pilots. 2 receivers out to the right. Whistles blow. Looks like Milnerick might have moved a little too soon.
And I think you're absolutely right, Jeff. He was in a hurry trying to get up to that line of scrimmage and get away from that Cass Tech defense. And he just started a little bit too soon. And that's going to hurt the Pilots here. It's going to put them in 2nd and 15, which is a situation I'm sure they didn't want to be in.
So Milnerick, we got it. Okay, we got it right. Thank you, Nicole. Second down and 15, ball on the 37-yard line of Cass Tech. The Pilots with the ball. Julian dropping back in the pressure. Just too much.
Oh, my.
As 2 Cass Tech linemen bury Julian.
Well, Derek registered 2 plays earlier, missed the quarterback, or the series before. He didn't miss him that time, and he got a little bit of assistance from, it looked like number 74, Bashir Ali. Take a look at the replay. He's setting up, looking for the quick throw, and oh boy, it just caved in on him in a hurry. And correction, that was number 53 and 73, who's Brandon Sanders.
Got Walter Neal on the sidelines. Walt, it's all yours, baby. Take it away.
3rd down. Well, Coach, only 2 penalties so far for the first quarter against Warren De La Salle. Their game plan was to stop Clarence Williams. So far, done that. He's been the factor thus far. And top for the first quarter. 2 guys in the booth.
Like that, you Walt. Like that coat, Walt. You got that Lynn Swan look working for you.
3rd down and 20. Julian rolling to his right, feeling the pressure, flushed out of the pocket. And man, number 66 coming from his left linebacker position, Mario Evans, a 6 foot, 220 pounds. He's listed as a tackle, but he's playing linebacker, I do believe. Puts the boom on Julian.
Well, if he's listed as a tackle, Jeff, that best describes what he just did to Warren De La Salle's quarterback. I mean, he was in hot pursuit from the time the play started, and he came all the way across the field, and made an excellent tackle, which is going to put De La Salle in a 4th down, and it looks like they're going to go for it unless they run some kind of trick play.
4th and 17 for the Pilots. Julian rolling out to his right, looking downfield, and broken up. Fine defensive play that time by Antonio Rush from his defensive cornerbacking position. Made a fine play.
These kids are some real ball hawks, Jeff, and I think that has a lot to do with Coach Aaron Kyle's defensive style coming from the defensive scheme that he played in with the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's brought a little bit of that to the Cass Technicians, and trust me, it's paying off. It's very, very hard to score against Cass Tech.
So the Pilots go for it and come up empty and turn the ball over to the Technicians in fine field position on the 37-yard line, their own 37-yard line. And the give to the first back through, I believe that's Patton trying to get some tough yardage inside.
And he's not going down without a fight. And Jeff, I noticed something after that last play as you take a look at Durante Scott and his statistics on the year. He's thrown 2 interceptions and 4 touchdowns, so that's not a bad touchdown to interception ratio. I was noticing that De La Salle's quarterback, number 16, Mark Julian, is also playing defense. That could come back to haunt De La Salle if, say, he has to take on a Clarence Williams and he jams a finger or something to that effect. That could come back to haunt him.
That's going to do it for the end of the first quarter. Your score, the Technicians of Cass Tech 7 and the Pilots of De La Salle 0.
We return to the action. Cass Tech fumbling, but they recover their own fumble.
Cass Tech recovers their own fumble there as Coach Tommy Welcher is talking it over with Durante Scott, who's also an excellent baseball player and the quarterback who's leading this Cass Tech team. The road to the dome. That's where this one ends. Both these teams, whichever one wins this afternoon continues on in the state. Whichever one loses packs it in for another year. Isaac on the sideline in front of the De La Salle bench as a fine pass from Scott.
Yes, it was.
And that brings a smile to his daddy's face.
Well, even something that was just as good as that pass, Jeff, was Cass Tech's pass protection. It was a sprint out to the right, and nobody came from the backside. There was no pressure front side. He set up and threw an excellent pass to number 4, William Isaac, who gained about 5 to 7 yards after he made the catch. So Cass Tech's moving the ball pretty good.
Cass Tech started the first quarter off on the ground, and now starting the second quarter off in the air. As they go back to the ground, and William Isaac, and some very tough yardage, maybe not a gain on that play at all, because the Pilot defense was there to meet him and greet him, and they did.
Yes, they were. I think after that first quarter, as you take a look at William Isaac's statistics, I think after that first quarter, De La Salle was kind of expecting that counterplay on first down. Cass has run it every first down that they've had. Even with the last series before they punted, they ran it, and De La Salle stopped it then. So I think they either need to go with a different play or, well, they need to come up with something different.
Williams trying to get up in that hole pretty quick, and does, and gains a few of those yards running backwards.
Yes, he did. He moonwalked for 5 yards,
yeah.
Jeff. We've seen this kid pick up a lot of yards in a variety of ways, and that was just another show of his versatility. And also an excellent lead block by number 79, big number Dupree B. There's a look at quarterback Mark Julian for Warren De La Salle, who doubles as a defensive back.
3rd down and 5 for Cass Tech. Also, this year's state champions in track, as Williams gets up in there very quickly and picks up a down and plenty for the technicians.
Jeff, if this kid doesn't go to a major college, college football will have done itself a great, great injustice.
When you take a look at it again, as you can see, the pure speed of Scott getting up in the hole really quick. Look at him go.
Well, he beat his blockers in the hole that time. The hole opened up so quick. We saw one of the Cass Tech linemen trying to lead a block, but Clarence Williams was already gone.
The snap fumble by the quarterback, Scott. It's a slippery pigskin this afternoon, a little rain earlier this morning, and as I was coming to the field, that was one of the things that was going through my mind. Will Cass Tech be able to establish the running game? I throw those thoughts out now. They've already established the running game, but the slippery pigskin, who will hold on to the ball, was another thing that had crossed my mind as I was on my way to the game. And there are the numbers on Clarence Williams and William Isaacs, and look at the totals there. Over 1,000 yards for C-Daddy, Clarence Williams. Movement in the backfield as Scott is being pressured by number 55, and that's Greg Peterson, who is the first man to Durante Scott. But that's going to be waved off because there's a flag on the play, and it was going to go against Detroit Cass as the fullback moved a little too soon.
Yeah, speaking of William Isaac, when we just showed the rushing stats, he had a very, very decent 638 hard-earned run, and this kid is just almost as every bit exciting as Clarence Williams. He's an excellent running back.
And there is some statistics against penalties in 1994. Cass opponents 35 for 208, and Cass 59 for 597. Scott deciding to tuck it and run it. Durante Scott, a member of that Cass Tech team that has 4.3 speed.
Well, he showed it on that play, Jeff. He stepped up in the pocket, and he wasn't going to wait around that time to get sacked. And he gained all the yards that they lost on the penalty, and then some.
4th down and 5 for the technicians.
A very makeable 4th down and 5 as opposed to 4th down and 22.
Ball right at the 20-yard line of the De La Salle Pilots.
Here's the replay. You see Scott dropping back, and he gets pressured by number 86, and he just steps up and finds a hole. He evades 2 tacklers, and he bounces off another one.
Trying to get Williams outside, and the Pilot defense holds tough.
Well, that time, Jeff, that was one of those passes that was telegraphed. The ball was thrown to Clarence Williams a bit early. You want to get it in his hands as quickly as possible. However, you don't want to be so quick that the defense reads and reacts to it just as quickly as you're trying to get him the ball. And as a result, Warren De La Salle comes up with the stop. However, they're at their own 20, and they've got to face that stingy Cass Tech defense. 34 points through 9 ball games and a quarter.
And now here's the pitch to Milhernick on the carry. And not much there.
That Cass Tech defense giving up 3.2 points per game, if I'm not mistaken, if my math is correct. And usually when you give up 3.2 points per game, you stand a very good chance of winning, and that's why Cass is undefeated. There's Clarence Williams' statistics last week.
Julian rolling out the pocket, looking downfield, wide open! Wide open is number 36, Jerry Trondle. And Trondle has 7 touchdown receptions through the air. And that time, somebody messed up in the defensive secondary of Cass Tech.
Well, Jeff, De La Salle's coach pulled a fast one on Cass Tech. They snuck in their other quarterback, Matt Batanti. I don't know where Mark Julian was, but take a look at the replay. Batanti sets up the play-action pass, and he steps up, and he's got a man all the way downfield. Nice form on the throw, and he didn't get a pass rush because Cass was playing run all the way. So Warren De La Salle strikes back at Cass, and they go from their 20 to the 20-yard line of Cass Tech. Just a beautiful throw.
And now the give to the big fullback, and he's in for a touchdown. Number 44 for De La Salle. The only man not listed on our roster.
Boy, don't you love that, Jeff? You got to love it when that happens. And just as we finished the defensive statistics for the Cass technicians, saying they had only given up 34 points, boy, it never fails. Here comes De La Salle within a matter of moments later to score. Cass has now given up 40 points. Let's see if it's 41 with the extra point here.
And the kick is up, and it's good, and we're all tied up at 7 as Dan Milhernay runs in for 6 points. The brother of Matt Milnerick. And we're all tied up as you take a look at Aaron Kyles discussing what happened with his defense, and he's speaking directly to the defensive backs, safeties, and cornerbacks. We can't let that happen again, folks.
Well, I can tell you what happened. I'm not on the sideline with Coach Aaron Kyles, but I can tell you this. Playing wide receiver, you're taught to run hard every play, to work hard every play. Even if you're going out to run block, there's certain things that you do that you have to do every play. And that was one of the ways that De La Salle was able to set up the play pass, is because the receiver who was coming down blocking, doing everything, went down and he faked the block, and he slid past the Cass Tech defender who was playing run all the way. And the result is a 60-yard gain, and consequently it leads to a touchdown for Warren De La Salle.
We're all tied up here in the second quarter of play. If you're just joining us, it's Detroit Cass Tech and Warren De La Salle. De La Salle, the runner-up in the Catholic League. And Cass Tech, the champions of the PSL in this first-round state tournament matchup. As the kicker for De La Salle sets the ball on the tee.
Well, Jeff, I can tell you from watching Clarence Williams last week, he better not kick that ball to Williams, or this game could go from being tied at 7-7 to Cass Tech being up 14-7 again, as we saw last week on Clarence Williams' his 87-yard jaunt into the end zone against Detroit King.
Sheridan with the kick and trying to kick it into the end zone, and does, as Williams will just down it in the end zone, and Cass Tech will take over at their own 20-yard line. And it can happen so quickly. High school football, folks, you just never know what might happen.
Just like that, Lucy.
De La Salle goes upstairs to tie it up.
Well, one
with
thing
the big pass to Jerry Tronda.
Excuse me, Jeff. One thing that Cass Tech has shown, they've shown you, they've shown me, they've shown the Metro Detroit area that they are a team that can face a little adversity and bounce back, as we saw against Martin Luther King last week. They actually trailed in that ball game before they ended up going up by 15 points.
William Isaac gets the call again, picks up about 8 yards on the play.
I like that kid, William Isaac. And looking at him, I think he's going to make a fine college tailback. He'll be too small to play fullback, and I'm probably to his liking, he's going to end up playing tailback in college, and he's going to make somebody a fine running back.
The light rain continues to fall as I see a few people bring out their umbrellas at Lorenzo Wright Stadium. As Cass Tech has home field advantage here in the state tournament, and a give to Isaac. And Isaac picks up the first down for Cass Tech.
Yeah, just hard inside running by William Isaac. And De La Salle better be careful, because if they miss a tackle on William Isaac, I told you he can hurt you just as quickly as Clarence Williams. Take a look at the replay. You see number 79 coming around to make a block on the end. One guy took his legs out from up under him, and he was still able to make the block on the defender. Warren De La Salle content to get out of Dupree B's way.
Williams, a lot of room up the middle.
And that's going to be a first down, Jeff.
Another first down for the technicians there on the stop. Mike Martell, number 25, and also Matt Milhernick, number 28 for De La Salle. As Williams got up inside and into the secondary of the Pilots. Isaac, maybe a pickup of 2 yards. There on the stop for the Pilots. As Joe Pressford.
Well, there's one thing we can say about this Warren De La Salle team. They're an all-name team. Some of these names defy all laws of English literature. Trust me, folks.
4:30 on the clock here in the second quarter. Cass Tech eating up this second quarter on the ground. And there is Clarence Williams into the secondary of the Pilots once again.
Jeff, I think we have the best job in the entire world, getting back to sit up in this booth and watch Clarence Williams do his thing. I mean, this kid is absolutely marvelous, and he's moved the chains once again. And Cass Tech, like we said, they're a team that has a lot of resiliency, and they're on the move right after De La Salle scored.
Here's the give to Williams. Williams, ball is up in the air. The ball was knocked out of Williams' hands. And as I mentioned early or in the middle of the first quarter, on my way to the game, those thoughts crossed my mind about holding on to the pigskin, the slippery pigskin. It almost fumbled it, the quarterback got, and here it is again as it's up in the air, and I don't see who made that tackle. I believe it was, Milhernick made the tackle for De La Salle that knocked the ball out of Williams' hands and up in the air. And De La Salle will take over at the 25-yard line, their own 25-yard line, with 3:45 here as the rain continues to come down. And Milner is knocked out of bounds, and flags are on the play.
Well, Jeff, that last fumble by Clarence Williams was more of a direct result from the De La Salle tackler putting his hat on the ball as they're taught to tackle that football. I don't think the weather conditions had anything to do with it, because the De La Salle tackler did get a head in on the ball. Take a look at this last replay. We're going to catch one of De La Salle's offensive linemen with a hold. Oh, heck, he tackled the Cass defender, and the official was right on the spot to make the call. That's going to back De La Salle up. Our cameraman doing a fine job of catching the culprit for Warren De La Salle.
Got Walter Neal on the sidelines. Walter, what do you have for us, baby?
Okay. Well, the rain is beginning to get heavier here. Lorenzo right field, causing traction to be a bit severe for the quarterback, especially trying to set up in the pass position. And that last score for Warren De La Salle, Coach Rowland of Cass Tech was very upset. He called the players together for a huddle to discuss this. The opening of the game, he said, let's cut back on mental mistakes. They had one. The game is now tied 7-7. We'll see what happens for the rest of the second quarter. Back up to you guys in the booth, Jeff.
Not a reception. That's incomplete. And pass intended to Trondle, Jerry Trondle. One who caught the big one to get to set De La Salle up for the touchdown.
Well, Jeff, it's obvious that Warren De La Salle has decided to change their game plan up a little bit and go away from the run and is starting to pass. We take a look at this last play fake. Quarterback getting pressure from the backside, and not a good throw.
Pilots going to the air again, trying to roll out. And on the stop for Cass Tech is number 53, and that's Derek Register, as he's ringing up some sacks for himself.
Well, I don't think Mark Julian is injured for Warren De La Salle. I think De La Salle's changed their game plan and they want to throw the ball. And obviously, Bianchnik is a better quarterback passing-wise than Mark Julian. You take a look at him trying to escape the Cass Tech pass rush unsuccessfully.
Batante is his name. Batante looking across the middle. No flags, no harm, no foul. That one's incomplete.
Excellent timing by the Cass Tech defender, number 42, Clayton Neal. Made a heck of a play as the tight end for De La Salle was wide open. We take a look at the play fake here, and Batansi sets up to throw, and he's looking for the tight end. And, well, the defender might have gotten there just a tad early. However, if you don't see a flag, then it's just like it never happened.
Clarence Williams standing right around his 50. Here's a high punt. No fair catch signal. That's interference, and the flag's on the play. The first De La Salle defender on the kick return team down interfered with Clarence Williams. And they'll walk off a big one right there.
Well, Jeff, De La Salle knows what we know, that if they let Clarence Williams come up and field this punt without a fair catch, he has a possibility of going all the way. In this case, they took the easy way out, and they'll take the 10 or 15-yard penalty and call it a series.
So instead of starting at the 40-yard line of De La Salle, they're probably going to walk off 15. Let's see what they do here as the ball boys out there trying to keep the balls dry. Let's see. Here's the initial call.
3-2.
It was declined. And Cass will take over at the 40-yard line. 2:35 on the clock here in the second quarter.
Cass Tech
Technicians and De La Salle all tied up.
Cass Tech starting this series, Jeff, in the wishbone.
Here's the give to William Isaac. Tries to run over two Pilot defenders, one of them being Julian and Mel Hernick on the stop for De La Salle. Pickup of about 2 yards on the play.
Well, you can look at William Isaac's jersey and tell that he's putting in some work today. He's got one of the dirtiest and muddiest jerseys out there on the field.
Clarence Williams dancing his way into the secondary and into the end zone for a Cass Tech touchdown.
My, oh my. That kid is something else. He is something special. Only a special running back can do what Clarence Williams just did. There wasn't a huge hole there. It wasn't great blocking. He picked and dodged and darted and high-stepped and hurdled his way into the end zone. Excellent, excellent run by that man, Clarence
Williams, the captain of the All-PSL team. And as he ran that one from 40 yards, here's a kick by Woodard. It's up and it's good. Cass Tech 14, De La Salle 7.
Well, you know, Jeff, and looking at Clarence Williams, he reminds me of another number 32, a combination of a couple of number 32s that we've seen and that we've grown accustomed to watching throughout the years. And one of them was a young O.J. Simpson, and the other was somebody whose role model was O.J. Simpson, would be Marcus Allen. Take a look at
this was the play before. This is William Isaac. Now here's that touchdown run by Clarence Williams. What feet, great feet, as he streaks up the middle of the field and into the secondary and by the secondary. Goodbye. Touchdown, Clarence Williams.
I'll bet you some podiatrists out there would love to love to take care of this kid and those feet, keep him happy and keep him running like that for the rest of his life.
As the rain continues to come down just a little harder. And Cass Tech getting into the end zone, set to kick off is Woodard. Woodard kicks this one, and Mel Hernick gets it around the 10. Looking for his wall, going up the middle, and he takes it to the 30-yard line. So a pretty decent return by Mel Hernick.
Well, I got to tell you, Jeff, he earned every yard that he got. Cass Tech has two people flying down on each kickoff, and they're busting up the wedge, and then everybody else, as we take a look at the kickoff once again by Dave Woodard, everybody else is just getting down there and finishing the ball carrier off.
Avante still in at quarterback. Mel Hernack getting the ball, getting some good yardage, and a first down for De La Salle.
Well, that's
they're running the ball straight at Cass Tech now, and that's an example of how muddy it is and how muddy it's probably going to be as we're playing this one under some rainy conditions. All season long we've had excellent weather, but you know Michigan, when it comes to state tournament time, the weather gets a little sloppy. First down for the Trojans. Monte rolling to his right, looking into the flats, pass intended for Jerry Trondo. But defensively there for Cass Tech was Evans, David Downs, number 8. And also 66 was Mario Evans.
Well, there's a replay. You see Batante trying to get outside and throw. Cass Tech playing that zone defense, and there was nothing doing. I think Warren De La Salle should stick to the inside running game, because what's happening is they're hitting the hole so quick. Cass is just running past the ball carrier.
Mel Hernick getting the ball and maybe picking up 5 yards on the play.
Well, there's that inside running game of De La Salle again, getting yard after yard. They're averaging about 5-6 yards of crack every time they run in between the guard and tackle. I look for them to keep running the ball inside, especially with the way the field conditions are getting. The rain starting to come down harder and harder as we speak. And there's Coach Ross McDonald for Warren De La Salle giving instructions to his quarterback, Matt Batante, a 6', 175-pound junior who also doubles as a linebacker for Warren De La Salle.
A minute on the clock here in this state tournament game, as Coach Aaron Kyle, the assistant coach and the defensive leader, talks it over with his technician defense. He's a technician.
You folks at home will have to excuse Mr. Lowe. Speaking Chinese now.
1 minute here in the second quarter. De La Salle didn't have enough men on the field. Monte looking downfield, decides to tuck it and run with it. And he picks up the first down, but the flag is resting at the 35-yard line of De La Salle, and they're going to bring this one back.
You know, Warren De La Salle, they could have had a bunch of kids with regular names like Jones and Smith and Williams and Johnson and whatnot, but instead they come at you with Batante
illegal motion on the offense.
And Milmaric and Trondo and Gasparovich, whose name we have yet to call. Take a look at the last play. Batante is trying to roll out, set up outside to throw, has nothing upfield, decides to run, and just to lose a Cass Tech defender. However, all that hard work and effort was for naught, as there was a penalty. De La Salle didn't have enough men on the field, and one entered the ball game late.
Batante rolling to his right, looking downfield, across the middle. Fine catch by Milnerek.
Oh my.
Matt Milnerek on the reception. Takes it down to the Cass Tech 25-yard line.
Milnerek on the reception and on our all-name list. I wonder what is that? Is that Greek or something?
So Aaron Kyle takes another timeout to talk this one over, as he doesn't want to go in at halftime all tied up. 32 seconds on the clock, and De La Salle, after the quarterback change, and as we saw in the statistics earlier, are a pretty good team throwing the ball through the air. and airing it up. Well, you can't do nothing but throw the ball through the air anyway, right? Of course.
Well, I'd just like to know what happened to the Cass Tech pass pressure. They're sitting back playing a soft zone now as opposed to the way they normally play. And we found that when you do that, normally what happens is when you're trying to play that defense, you prevent yourself from stopping the other team's offense. That's all you do, Jeff.
As we look at the coaches as it gets really intense on the Cass Tech sideline. First and 10. Asante rolling out. Breaks a couple tackles. Ball is loose. And I think Cass Tech has recovered.
Yes. Fumble live. Fumble Ruski.
Keith Travis coming out with the loose ball for Cass Tech. That's his second fumble recovery for the afternoon as you take a look at the stands and all the umbrellas are up because it's raining.
Right. And all the Cass Tech faithful. As soon as we talk about something, Jeff, it happens. We were talking about the Cass Tech pass rush, and there it came from the backside. And when he eluded the backside pressure, there was a man front side. And it wasn't that caused the fumble. It was number 51 coming in late. Number 51 being Rashawn Johnson with an excellent hit and makes Batanti cough it up.
Batanti also looked like at the end of that play was trying to pass it. Time runs out in the first half. So your halftime score, Cass Tech 14, De La Salle 7. When we'll come back, we'll have some quick statistics and some quick thoughts. Oh, we got Walter on the sidelines, and he's going to talk it over with Coach Aaron Kyle. Walter, take it away, baby.
We're talking with Cass Tech defensive coach. Coach, on their first score, what happened out there?
Just missed tackles, missed assignments. You know, our kids, they started playing a little soft. We started playing soft. I guarantee you the second half we're going to get after them, okay? Or those kids won't be out there. Or we put some new bunch in. We got to play tough. We got to keep the pressure on them, okay? We had the pressure on them in the first quarter, but we let back. We laid back a little bit. They got a big play, but we don't expect that to happen again.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck second half. Back up to you guys in the booth, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, Walter, and you heard it right there. What's going to happen in the second half, we don't know. You stay tuned. It's halftime. De La Salle is down right now. The technicians in command, 14-7. Welcome back to Lorenzo Wright Stadium as the rain continues to fall. Everyone has their umbrellas out on this state tournament first round game. There's your score. Cass Tech 14 and De La Salle 7 as we are set for the second half of this game. And Daryl, are you there? Daryl's here.
I'm here. I'm down here chatting with Mike Harden, the former Denver Bronco. And former PSL football player. I didn't know he played in the PSL.
Yes, he did.
I know now.
He was an outstanding player in the PSL.
Hanging out with Dr. Sneed down there. He's in good company, I'd say so.
And here are the statistics of the first half. As you can see the totals there. A pretty evenly matched game. Look at the passing for De La Salle, 82 yards through the air. Cass Tech only 10 yards through the air. Rushing 72 for De La Salle, 164 for Cass Tech, and 126 of those yards by Clarence Williams. Number of plays 21 to 26. First downs 5 to 6. And okay, yes, that's 28 28 plays versus 21 for De La Salle. And those are your first half totals as we're almost set to kick off and start the second half of play. 14-7 your score. This is the first round of state tournament play, and Cass Tech has home field advantage. But right now, you can throw that out the window. Darryl, what are your comments on the first half?
Well, the first half was pretty much evenly played. The one fumble for Cass that they recovered led to them scoring a touchdown. And what was even bigger than that was the 3 fumbles that Cass Tech had of their own that they recovered.
Melnick picks this one up inside his own 5-yard line and carries it down near the 50. We'll call it the 48-yard line. So, hey, Warren De La Salle starting off with some good field position in there. The numbers on Matt Milnerick for the season, 117 rushes, 619 yards, and 5.3 per carry, and 7 touchdowns on the ground.
A very, very respectable effort by that young man for Warren De La Salle. Look for Warren De La Salle to come out the second half and try to run the ball. The weather's getting worse, and we're going to have to see if they can hang on to the ball. As you see, Cass coming up big there.
The pursuing Cass Tech defense, led by Mario Evans, number 66. As they put the nail on Dan Milnerick, the brother of Matt.
Well, Jeff, I just want to get in one thing. It's good to see former Denver Bronco Mike Harden, who was a former PSL ball player, coming back home and paying tribute to the PSL, which I'm sure is what got it all started for him, as well as Coach Aaron Kyle down on the sideline. That gives you a good feeling when men of that stature come back and try to give something back to the kids.
Give to the first back through.
Speaking of giving,
that's Milnerick on the carry for De La Salle. So De La Salle trying to move the ball downfield and doing a pretty good job of that. It's the injured player for Cass Tech, and here it is again, Daryl, straight up the middle.
Straight up the gut. That's where you've got to defend. They just rolled over 3 or 4 Cass ball players. There was a pile of green and white jerseys there. Milnerick hit up into the secondary before anybody made contact with him.
Cadwell was the injured player. All the coaches come out to check him out. He's okay. He walks off the field under his own power. Always happy to see that. But defensively, Cass has to straighten some things out here, as Aaron Kyle shouts out some instructions to his defensive unit from the sideline. Another first down for De La Salle. 1st and 10. Ball on the 35-yard line of Cass Tech. Here's the give to Dan Milnerick. First back through. Tough yardage there. No yardage there. No gain on the play. Maybe a loss of a yard as he was hit in the backfield by the big man, number 71, Ramil Pinnock. Also another candidate or another member of that all-city team.
Well, that time Cass Tech had so much penetration in De La Salle's backfield, he didn't stand a chance from the time he was given the ball. And that's what Cass Tech needs to do. They need to gang tackle and stop the running back before he gets going.
2nd down and 10. Ball on the 35 of Cass Tech. Bonte calling the signals. Here's a give to Milnerick. And he falls backwards, maybe a pickup of a yard. And you have Walter Neal on the sidelines. Walter, take it away, baby.
Well, so far, both teams are coming out hitting very hard for the start of this second half. Number 1, Caldwell, nose tackle for Cass, got his bell rung. He's out for a couple plays. He'll be back. Back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, thanks a lot, Walter.
And Milnerick, the leader of our all-name team. I was just telling Jeff Lowe he's going to call him mayonnaise next. Probably the next thing you hear come out of his mouth, folks. But trust me, they do have some names on that roster, as we ran off to you earlier.
Mario Evans, the injured player on the play, comes off the field under his own power. He's been a name, that's been a name we've been calling pretty much the whole afternoon for Cass Tech. He's the anchor of that defense, and he'll get attended to on the sideline. 3rd and 10 for the Pilots of De La Salle. Bonte, the quarterback for De La Salle. 3-step drop, looking across the middle. This one's almost picked off.
And it is picked off.
It is picked off by a lineman.
And that play was kept alive by 2 Cass Tech defenders. It looked like it hit the ground, however, it didn't.
Brandon Sanders, the big offensive tackle, had come up with the interception. I did not see him pick that pass off, but it was tipped, and that's a lineman's dream, folks.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
To your hand. Here it is again. Beyonce just drifting back, and it hit the foot of number 42 and popped up in the hands of Brandon Sanders. How about that?
And he knew what to do with the ball after he got it. And I was standing here listening at, look at it run, and there was a couple of good blocks by Cass Tech. One possible clip that was missed. And judging from the boos amongst the crowd, is going to go back. It'll be Cass Tech's ball, but we must have had an illegal block above the waist in the back or somewhere in that area. And I was listening at Dr. Steve standing behind me saying that if Cass Tech would run old 00 Soul, they would, not Cass Tech, but De La Salle, if they had run 00 Soul, they wouldn't be in this predicament right about now. And he's nodding his head in agreement. I took the thoughts right out of his mind.
There was a penalty on the interception, 10 yards against Cass Tech for holding.
Also, number 46.
First and 10 for the technicians from the 35.
Number 42, Carlton Neal. They're defending to force that interception. So nevertheless, Cass Tech gets the ball at their own 35. Clarence Williams gets the call, trying to break it outside, and not a lot of room there. He may have picked up a yard, but De La Salle did a good job of stretching that one out.
Well, they did, and it looks like the second half that they better make sure tackles, because if they don't, you know as well as I know, Clarence Williams will be in the end zone before you can say touchdown.
Field conditions seem to be a little slippery because of the rain that we've had over the past couple days. And there's a look at Brandon Sanders, the big man who just received the lineman's dream, an interception that gave Cass Tech the ball. Here's Clarence Williams trying to find some room and finding very little, as he might have picked up 3 yards. Let's call it 3rd down and 5 for Cass Tech. Or no, let's call it 3rd down and a long 3.
Well, Brandon Sanders must be in pretty good shape, because when we got that shot of him on the sideline, I didn't see him gasping for air. As a matter of fact, it looked like he was running it down to his teammates as to how he got that interception, possibly how he read the play and went to the right place at the right time and whatnot.
3rd and 3, ball on the 41. Scott with the give to Williams. Williams trying to turn the corner and does. And turns it up. Picks up the 1st down and out of bounds at the 45-yard line of De La Salle.
Well, he turned something into nothing that time, and that was just an excellent run. That was good defense by De La Salle, because they strung the play out. However, the contained man was out of position, so he couldn't make the tackle. The contained man is the key to anything that goes outside, whether it be the quarterback or the running back. The contained man's job is to force the play back to the inside so that the linebackers from the inside can come and clean up. That's what his job is.
1st down for the technicians. Ball on the 42-yard line. And they're going to stop the clock to change footballs. Get a dry football in there. Let's see if they do that. Now they decide to wipe it off. Actually, Cass Tech is they're asking for their own football, but they don't get that one. Williams trying the left side. Look at Clarence Williams go. Breaks a couple of tackles and down at the 15-yard line.
Well, Jeff, number 22 for Warren De La Salle made a saving tackle, and anytime you can tackle Clarence Williams one-on-one, you've done a good job. Number 22 was Tom Aubrey, a defensive back. He's 5'9", 150-pound junior, and he just saved Warren De La Salle from being behind by 2 touchdowns. However, Jeff, at this point in time, I think it's inevitable that Cass Tech is going to get in the end zone. Take a look at the run and the excellent. Oh, boy, he just barely got him. He got him by a shoelace.
Durante Scott trying to turn it up on the option. Keeps it. And maybe he got back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of a yard on the play. And Scott tried to run the option on the play, and that one was defended pretty good by De La Salle.
Hey, Jeff, I got a trivia question for you. Name the only 2 former PSL high school football players from the city of Detroit, state of Michigan, to play in the Super Bowl. Think about it for a while.
Clarence.
Let me rephrase that. Whose teams met in the Super Bowl? Well, actually, you know what? That's kind of a
pretty. You know what? They're here this afternoon, so that's not a hard. That's not a hard question.
Well, actually, Jeff, there's another piece missing, and Stephanie Young just reminded me there's a 3rd piece to that puzzle, and the 3rd piece was Pepper Johnson. The other two parties are here today. One is on the sideline, and one is in the press box with us. And let you folks at home think about it and see if you can come up with the answer.
On the reverse, William Isaacs tripped up by number 86 as he came from his defensive cornerback position, and that's Nolan Gottschalk. Nolan Gottschalk stopped Isaacs from going into the end zone on the reverse.
Well, you take a look at the replay, and we were just talking about the contain man. That time the contain man stayed home. That was the only difference between Cass Tech coming up in 4th down and scoring a touchdown.
4th down, ball on the 6, and De La Salle stops the Cass Tech offense and Clarence Williams.
Well, that time Jeff Cass Tech was too predictable. Warren De La Salle's been defending that counter play all day, and they kind of expected it, and you can tell because they had 3 or 4 defensive ball players clogging up the hole. They take a look at Cass Tech coach Sherrell Rowland from the back, and you can just imagine that he's not too happy about that play.
And congratulations to Coach Rowland for being named the Coach of the Year in the PSL.
Well, you ready for the answer to the trivia question yet, Jeff?
Not yet. Let's keep those. Let's keep them tuned in for that one. We'll bring that to you in the 4th quarter.
Okay. Yeah, we want to make sure you've got something to stick around and listen to.
So Cass Tech turns the ball over on the 6-yard line. Badante looking for Jerry Trotto, and Trotto has it down for a 1st down for De La Salle. And the cornerbacks for Cass Tech playing it a little too soft on that side.
Well, actually, Jeff, it was quite the contrary. They weren't playing too soft. They were up and bump and run covered, and the receiver released outside and got away from the cornerback. And the quarterback, actually, that pass should have been knocked down if the safety had been in the proper position, because when you lob the ball up like that in between the safety and the corner, 2 things usually happen. The receiver gets knocked out or the ball gets picked off.
Ball on the 32-yard line of De La Salle. Here's the give to Melnerick. He looks like he was down on the play. No whistles blew, but let's see what they call. I think they're going to give the forward progress to him. Let's see where they spot the ball. And yes, it looks like he was down on the play. Dan Melnick. Milnerick.
Mayonnaise. doing his Herman Moore impression.
I thought he would have been down. Looked like his knee may have touched, but the officials had a better angle than we had.
They either had a better view or they had more drinks than we've had.
2nd and 4. And the other Milnerick on the carry. And he falls close to the 1st down, depending on the spot. Let's see. The head official has indicated that it is a 1st down for De La Salle. 3:16 on the clock. Here's another look at it as Matt Milnerick falls, and on the spin, he got the 1st down.
I think we ought to change these kids' names and shorten it up. Let's just call them Milk for short. The Milk Brothers. How about that?
So 1st down for the Pilots. Bentante going to Jerry Trondo again, and he's close to another 1st down for the Pilots.
Well, Warren De La Salle is coming out, and they're attacking that zone defensive cast. And all season long, teams that have not been able to throw the ball against Cass Tech has come up short. Warren De La Salle right now is just picking that zone defense apart. Aaron Kyle's going to have to make some adjustments, Jeff.
Trondo on the reception. Trondo, the leading receiver for the Pilots, along with their tight end, who's been pretty silent this afternoon, Brent Bonde. And here's the give up the middle. Fumble on the play. Let's see who has it. And it looks like Cass Tech comes out with it, and they do.
And there's that turnover buzz, Jeff. Warren De La Salle coughing the ball up
the fumble for Cass Tech. Clayton Clayton Neal recovering the fumble for Cass Tech.
Take a look at a disgusted Ross McDonald over there on the De La Salle sideline. Once again, the turnover bug has jumped up and bitten De La Salle right on the behind. And Cass Tech is going to take over. De La Salle was moving the ball quite well down the field, as were they the first time when they had the ball and they had the turnover. And let's see if Cass Tech can turn it into some points here.
Ball on the 46. And Clarence Williams trying to get outside as the De La Salle defense in hot pursuit. De La Salle, as we discussed earlier, one of those teams that were on the bubble as far as making it into the state playoff runnings, has had an excellent season, undefeated all the way to the championship game of the Catholic League. And at that point, they lost to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, who's a Class Double C team. They've been playing Class C and Double C and B teams all season long, so they weren't able to get the points that most of their Double A schools who they will meet in the playoffs have. Looked like some movement defensively. No whistles called or blown. Maybe a face mask there. Nothing called there as De La Salle wraps up Clarence Williams.
But not until after he surges forward for a gain of 7 on that play, Jeff. Clarence Williams not going down with the first contact that he's getting. Fighting and pushing his way for every yard. As you take a look at the De La Salle defense. Here's a look at the replay. It's just a straight handoff going left, and Clarence avoids one tackler, and he stands up another one, and they're trying to push the pile, and it takes 4 or 5 guys to bring this kid down. He has deceptive strength at his weight of 175 pounds.
So Thomas Welcher, the man behind the offense of the Technicians, want to talk this one over. Big possession right here, as it's only 43 seconds left here in the third quarter. And I know Cass Tech wants to get a first down so they can start the fourth quarter with the football. 14-7. Here's your score. Cass Tech right now on top of the Pilots of De La Salle, the runner-up in the Detroit Catholic League. And I'd like to send out some congratulations to Dr. David Sneed, as he was just named the state's superintendent of the year. Congratulations to him.
Yes, I second that congratulations. Dr. Sneed, who's decided to grace us with his presence, along with another one of my favorites, Mr. Lafayette Evans. A lot of people whom don't know, he pretty much runs the sports department for the Detroit Board of Education, along with Mr. Roy Allen. The two of them doing an excellent job and have been doing an excellent job throughout their careers.
And Walter Neal on the sidelines. Walter, where are you, baby?
We're with the beautiful and talented Cass Tech cheerleaders. A game this close, you need to have somebody to cheer. What kind of cheering are y'all doing today to keep the crowd motivated?
As best as we can. You know, the weather isn't that favorable, but Cass is pretty much going to take it this year. That's all I got to say.
All right, the Cass Tech cheerleaders. Jeff, back up to you guys in the booth.
Back to the action on the field. Thanks, Walter. He was hovering around the Cass Tech cheerleaders. And looks like it was a miscue offensively by Cass Tech, as the snap, on the snap, the quarterback exchanged. No one else moved but the quarterback in the center. So that's going to force Cass Tech to punt the ball. And Matt Milnerick is back right around the 20-yard line as Woodard gets set to punt this one away. 38 seconds left here in the third quarter. And here's a kick by Woodard. And Milnerick is knocked out of bounds right at the 26-yard line. And that's where De La Salle will take over.
Well, that was an excellent punt return that time. He eluded the first man down. First man down came flying down. He didn't break down and set up to contain the return man, and he just slid past him and got 10 yards when he probably should have only gained probably 1 or 2 yards at the most. So that was an excellent job that time by Milnerick on that punt return.
As the footing gets more slipperier and slipperier as the game goes on, the offense has the advantage because they know where they're going. And there's Milnerick with the carry. Picked up about 4 yards on the play, maybe 5. Let's call it 3. Oh, no, they're just trying to, okay, 5 yards for Milnerick. Second down. The defense has a tendency sometimes to overrun plays, especially if you have a good defense such as Cass Tech. And what happens here is the field condition will cause players to slip and fall. That's going to do it for the end of the third quarter. Cass Tech still in command. Your score, Cass Tech 14, the Pilots of De La Salle 7. Welcome back to Lorenzo Wright Stadium on this rainy and wet Saturday afternoon. It's a state matchup between Cass Tech and De La Salle. As Beyonce drops to and rolls out and finds an open Jerry Trondle.
You know how open he was, Jeff. That ball hung in the air for about 5 seconds. And just before we changed quarters, I was just going to say, I was wondering when De La Salle was going to go back to the play pass because they've established the running game, which is what you need to open up that play action pass. They've already done that, and they just answered my question. So thank you, Coach Ross McDonald, for answering my question without me even asking.
So a big first down play for the Pilots of De La Salle. I formation, Milnerick and Milnerick in the backfield. The give to the first back, who's Matt Milnerick, and he may have picked up a yard, maybe a loss of a yard on that play. As the Cass Tech defense getting stingy in the middle.
Well, that's what they need to do. They've been giving up yards in that middle all game long, so they're going to have to shut off that middle and try to make De La Salle beat them by going outside. If you take a look at the replay, the defensive line of Cass Tech just stuffed the offensive lineman back into the running back's face. He had nowhere to go. You couple that with the fact that he was running with his head down. That's why he only got a yard.
On the spot, they gave him about, that was a big spot for De La Salle, as they gave him a yard on the play. But Tante going upstairs, this was almost picked off. Good coverage by the defensive back that time. Excellent coverage by David Downs.
Well, you give that errant throw to the defensive line of Cass Tech. They were in the backfield before, but Tante got dropped back, and he had to put it up in the air, which is as a defensive back, what you want the quarterback to do, just throw it up there. Actually, the defender had a better shot at the ball than the offensive player. So good job by the Cass Tech defensive line of putting on the pressure.
You have to ask Mark Hayden about that coverage by the defensive back there. Pretty good, huh? Third down and 9. Batante looking to the slot and finding him. And that's Matt Milnerick on the reception.
Well, it's evident, Jeff, that Warren De La Salle is going to take what Cass has given them. Cass has got their safeties playing back so far. They're what we call out of the ball game. They're playing 20 yards deep. with the speed that they have, there's no need for them to play 20 yards deep, and De La Salle is just dropping off the pass in between the safety and just past the linebacker. I mean, a lot of teams aren't willing to take what they'll get, but De La Salle is.
Got Walter Neal on the sidelines if he can get him in. Walter, what do you got to say, baby?
I got to tell you, great day for a football game. Wet, muddy, and slushy. Perfect. Cass Tech and Warren De La Salle. Are we going to win today or what?
Yes.
I guess there you have it from the Cass Tech sidelines. Jeff and Daryl back up to you guys in the booth.
Thanks, Walter. Trying to stay dry outside in the elements. Got a couple umbrellas there covering him up, and a lot of fans here at Lorenzo Wright Stadium enjoying this one. A good turnout despite the weather conditions. A very good turnout for both teams, De La Salle and Cass Tech. 2nd down and 14. Ball on the 26-yard line of Detroit Cass. 2 backs in the backfield. Batante rolling out to his right, looking downfield, and finding an open receiver inside the 5-yard line.
Well, that time we had a rollout pass by the quarterback, and we had an inside receiver that started off inside, and he came back across the field to the outside, and Batante, under duress from the defensive line and under these terrible weather conditions, actually he threw a nice ball.
Mark Martell right there in your screen on that last reception for De La Salle. So the Pilots of De La Salle have received their flight pattern and have gone to the air against the technicians. Melnerick trying to get outside, and that one stopped by number 40, Keith Travis. And number 42, Clayton Neal there for Cass Tech.
Well, I got to tell you, Jeff, with the defensive speed of Cass Tech, the only way De La Salle is going to score going outside, if a Cass Tech defender misses a tackle or if he falls down. That's the only way they're going to beat Cass Tech to the corner.
2nd down and goal. Ball on the 3 for the Pilots of De La Salle, the runner-up in the Catholic League. Melnerick on the call, and that was off tackle on the right side, and he's in for a touchdown.
Yeah, he walked in there, Big Daddy.
And that brings the De La Salle faithful out of their seats on this rainy afternoon. They've probably been standing up all afternoon anyway.
Okay, Jeff, it's the 4th quarter now. De La Salle just tied up the ball game. Are you ready to answer my trivia question?
Not yet. Hold on to that trivia question. As De La Salle gets set to put up the extra point. James Sheraton in to kick it. Here's the snap. The kick is up, and the kick is good. We're all tied up at 14.
Well, that time De La Salle just marched down the field. A very, very workmanlike effort. They mixed the run in with the pass. Take a look at the replay. It's just a straight handoff off the right tackle, and there was nobody there to stop him. He could have walked into the end zone. But as I was saying, De La Salle just marched the ball down the field. They mixed the pass with the run, and it seems that they caught Cass Tech off guard. Cass never knew what was going on, but if Cass Tech comes back and scores to take this lead on their next defensive stand, they're going to have to bring the safeties into the ball game. There's no need to play them 20 yards off because there's nobody on De La Salle's side of the ball that can outrun anybody for Cass Tech. So there's no need for them to play 20 yards off.
And De La Salle did it in workmanlike fashion, mixing it up with a variety of different plays, going up top and also keeping it on the ground. But the big play, Trondo getting that first down for De La Salle when the series started.
Well, and
I think that gave them the momentum to move the ball on Detroit Cass Tech.
Well, and also, Jeff, they overcame a couple of sacks on that series, too.
This one slides into the end zone, giving you an example of how slippery and wet it is. And like I mentioned, when you got a good pursuing defense, and in these conditions, you're going to find your defense overrunning a lot of plays. And those plays designed to go outside, usually when your defense can get there and stop, unfortunately with the poor footing, your defense gets there and you keep on going because you slide right past the play. But you can't blame the conditions because both teams have to play in them. And there's a look at Mr. Shannon, athletic director, basketball coach at Cass Tech. Congratulations to your Cass technicians as they were city champs last year, but now they're trying to keep this momentum going and going into the state tournament. As Clarence Williams gets knocked around after picking up about a yard or two on the play.
Well, you were absolutely right, Jeff, when you were talking about defensive over pursuing. One thing you want to do against a team that pursues well and has good team speed, run the ball straight at them, because 9 times out of 10, you'll have more success running straight at them than you would at trying to run away from them.
7:51 and counting as they try to keep the ball as dry as possible in these conditions, or under these conditions. Cass Tech wide receiver in motion. Here's the give to Williams. Williams dipping and dodging and spinning for a Cass Tech first down.
That was an excellent lead play off tackle by Clarence Williams. I don't know if it was supposed to go off tackle, but that's where he ended up. He picks and chooses his own holes, and usually he has pretty good judgment, at least as far as we've seen, and he's been very successful running the ball off tackle. He's getting 10, 15 yards a pop at it.
Okay, Daryl, we want to give that answer to the quiz right now. After this, there it is, Clarence Williams. That's been success right there for Cass Tech.
Well, we'll tell him.
Running the ball straight ahead.
We're going to tell him after this play, Jeff.
1st and 10, ball on the 35. Here's the pitch to Williams outside, and he's tripped up before he gets to the line of scrimmage, but still was able to pick up a few yards as Nolan Goschunk was the man who tripped him up, the defensive end on that right side. Go ahead with that trivia question because I want to get a chance. I want to talk to Mike Harden in a few minutes.
Okay. Now, the answer to the question is a triangle. There's 3 players from the city of Detroit that played in the PSL that have all gone on and played in the Super Bowl. And Stephanie Young brought up one that wasn't even in the equation, and that first one was Pepper Johnson. But the other 2, one is down on the field. That's Aaron Kyle, who played for the Dallas Cowboys against the Denver Broncos in 1977 in the Super Bowl. And the other person is standing to my left. His name is Mike Harden. Mike's been to 3 or 4 Super Bowls. I believe it's 3 Super Bowls. Mike's been to 3 Super Bowls. So the city of Detroit has been well represented in the Super Bowl with former PSL ball players. Aaron Kyle and Pepper Johnson have had a little bit more success with regards to winning the Super Bowl. However, Mike has gotten there more times.
Thank you, Daryl. As Clarence Williams picks up a big first down for Cass Tech. Ball is fumbled right at the snap as Durante Scott, the ball slipped out of his hand, and as a quarterback, you got to make sure under these conditions that you get a handle on the ball.
But you know what, Jeff? That's Cass Tech's 4th fumble. But De La Salle has not recovered one of the fumbles that the quarterback has had. He's fumbled the ball 4 times. That's 4 blown opportunities that they've missed. I think the only fumble that they've recovered was the one by Clarence Williams.
And I also want to point out also the differences in the football. Now, one of the footballs is a rubber-like football, and the other one is a leather-like football. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if we could possibly get a shot of one of those footballs, and they're keeping them pretty dry. Well, the official has one of the footballs, and the ball boy has one of them. And I believe the ball boy is bringing out one of the footballs now. As you can see, I believe that's the ball boy keeping that one dry, and I believe that's the rubber-like football. And that's the one you're probably going to have most of the problems with, and the slippery pigskin getting a lot of attention right now. But on the field now is Walter Neal. Walter, take it away, baby.
Talk about a battle for the Class A playoffs. It's going to come down to two things. Can De La Salle contain Clarence Williams, and can Cass Tech stop the passing game of Warren De La Salle? We'll find out within this next 5 minutes. Jeff, back up to you in the booth.
Thanks a lot, Walter, as the workhorse in this series has been Clarence Williams. And for that point, workhorse the entire game has been Clarence Williams. He had 126 yards in the first half by himself pretty much, as the rain continues to fall here on Lorenzo Wright Stadium, and 5 minutes left to play.
Well, Clarence Williams was a horse. He'd be a pony. William Isaac would be a thoroughbred, I think.
Well, they haven't been going much to William Isaac, as Coach Welcher is jumping up and down on the sidelines. And Scott, with a lot of time, pass thrown behind the intended receiver. And let's see, we'll call it a catch. And now it's 4th down. They only picked up about a yard on the play. 4th and 7. And a little confusion offensively by Cass Tech.
Well, Jeff, that's one of the things that you don't need in a playoff game like this, for your kids to be confused out on the field and making mistakes. The game itself is tough enough to play physically without them adding to the difficulty or the degree of difficulty by making mental mistakes.
Milnerick is back deep, and they kick to his side, and he'll get it inside the 15, but there to wrap him up immediately was Carlton Sykes.
And that was excellent punt coverage that time by Cass Tech. I guess Coach Kyle came over and he told him about the last punt. This time Sykes went down, he broke down, he stood his ground, he made the tackle, and he held on. And the result is De La Salle doesn't gain a yard on the punt return.
If you're superstitious and you're a Cass Tech fan, you know, on this field, they have always had the opposite sidelines. And I was talking to a couple people for Cass Tech, and they were like, hey, I don't know about having this side of the field, but, you know, it doesn't make a difference what side you stand on, just as long as you're in the ball game. We're all tied up at 14. De La Salle with the ball. Marinick with the carry, or Milnerick, I'm sorry, I keep mixing that one up.
Mayo.
3:45 on the clock and ticking here in this 4th quarter. I want to get a chance to talk to Mr. Mike Hayden real quick. And he's joining us up here with the superintendent. I'd like to say hello and welcome to the telecast here at Barden Cable.
Thank you.
And I know you're a product of the Detroit Public Schools. And hey, you know what? As a high schooler, I'm going to take you back to your high school days so you can break this down defensively. You played with Aaron Cowell before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about what he needs to do right here.
Well, this will be a critical time for me to step up and try to shut them down. The big thing they got to do is to try to keep the ball in play and make these guys have to drive the length of the football field, not let them get a big play right now.
And that's one of the things the Cass Tech defense is trying not let to happen with 3 minutes on the clock, and we're all tied up, and the rain continues to come down. And I was saying, playing under these conditions, as we see the replay here, and you can comment on what you see here as Cass Tech coming up pretty big and making sure that they don't get the first down, but they did get that first down on that play. And De La Salle, as long as the ball is on the ground and the clock is in their favor right now.
Right, but knowing Aaron the way I do, I would say he's going to come after him now. I know his personality. And as I see that, you look on the field, you see a lot of guys in the backfield. I would expect him to be doing some kind of blitz or something like that. That's the kind of personality he is. When it is a critical situation, he always likes to go after people.
And that's exactly what the Cass Tech defense did right there. They went after the quarterback, Batante, with 2 minutes and 31 seconds here left in the 4th quarter. We're all tied up at 14. The winner continues on in the state tournament challenge and continues on the road to the Silver Dome. The loser packs it up for a year and takes their equipment and takes it to the people to get it reconditioned for next year. 2nd down and 10 for the De La Salle Pilots. Padante dropping back, looking to the flats, and finding a receiver open on the sidelines in front of the De La Salle bench.
That's a good third down play there. I mean, you don't hurt yourself there. They didn't give up the first down. That's a good play. Just a little dump pass in the flat.
I know some of the folks, when you've been away for a while, you come back in the city, they want to know what you're doing for yourself now.
Well, I'm making Denver my home. After being out there for some 13, 14 years, the city has been great for me. I'm doing some broadcasting out there, college games, and doing some of the pro games. I co-host a weekly sports talk show out there.
Oh, great. A minute and 50. Cass Tech putting the pressure on in the backfield, and the first man to the ball, number 51, Rashawn Johnson. A big third down play for Cass Tech. And that time, like you said, Coach Kyle putting the pressure on defensively to make sure that no big plays happen. A minute and 19 and counting. Back deep is Clarence Williams. He's the only man back deep. De La Salle goes into a shift to try to draw Cass offside. And this is the type of punt you possibly could return. Williams, not a whole lot of room, and he stopped right before the 40-yard line. Mr. Harden, I'd like to thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
And much success for you in your endeavors in Denver. And hope to hear from you again.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Here's the big sack by the defense of Detroit Cass Tech as Johnson was the first man to the ball to stop the drive of De La Salle. 50 seconds on the clock. We're all tied up at 14. The give to the first back through, not much there. The clock continues to run. Only one timeout left for Cass Tech.
And the way they're messing around in that huddle, Jeff, they're going to run out of time, and this game is going to end up going into overtime. They've used up 15, 20 seconds just in going back into a half huddle and getting to the line of scrimmage.
Scott looking downfield, now looking to the short man. Isaac catches it and steps out of bounds to stop the clock at the 48-yard line of De La Salle. 17 seconds on the clock.
Well, that was a beautiful pass that time by Scott. However, the defender gave up on that play. It seemed like he kind of tailed off towards the end because if he had just tried to get his hand up, he could have possibly batted that pass down. Let's take a look at it. Scott's on the rollout, and he's under pressure. Now, he throws a good pass, and the defender looked like he just stopped. He should have stayed with Isaac all the way. Isaac had the good concentration. He stayed in bounds, and now Cass Tech got the ball on De La Salle's 48-yard line.
Look for another pass similar to that one near the sideline, and possibly Woodard might get a chance to put one through the uprights. This one is down the middle, and it's broken up.
Excellent defense that time by Warren De La Salle. However, Durante Scott missed Clarence Williams swinging out of the backfield that time, and that could be big.
Jason Solinsky on the good defense for De La Salle. As you see, Scott dropping straight back and looking across the middle as the pass was intended for Jason Baker. 11 seconds on the clock, and Woodard, if possibly, he might get a chance. We haven't been paying a lot of attention to the kicking games of the teams in the PSL, but they are vastly improved. As Scott goes down the middle again, and this one's almost intercepted, but broken up by Milnerick and Solinsky.
Well, that time Scott needed a little bit more loft on that ball. If he had put a little bit more air in front of that ball, I think we're looking at 6 points for Cass Tech. Ball game's over. However, he threw a flat pass, gave the defender a chance to break on it, and it should have been intercepted.
I would be thinking that Cass would probably be playing more to the sideline patterns so they can get out of bounds and stop the clock and possibly give their fine kicker Woodard a chance to put one through the upright. But now it looks like they're going to have to go for the 6, 3rd and 10. Scott dropping back, rolling to his right, and now finding Williams. As Williams gets out of bounds, and he doesn't get out of bounds soon enough to stop the clock, and regulation is over. Folks, we're going to overtime. We're all tied up at 14. This is a great state game. De La Salle 14, Cass Tech 14. When we come back, it's OT. Welcome back to Lorenzo Wright Stadium and this first round state football game with De La Salle and Cass Tech. And we're in overtime as the two teams meet at the center of the field, the captains of each team, to determine who will have the ball first, because in overtime the ball is placed at the 10-yard line, and that's where the battle is measured and won, in between the 10 and the goal line. And Cass, they've been opting to take the defensive side of the ball first, and I was just in a conversation with Dr. Sneed, and when he was coaching, and he was known as Coach Sneed back then, he won 3 overtime games when he elected to be on defense opposed to offense.
Well, the thing that's key here, Jeff, we were looking at Warren De La Salle's ball player as the regulation time ended, and there were several of them that were down on one knee, which is an indication that they could be tired. If I were Cass Tech offensive coordinator, what I would do, I would come out from the 10-yard line, 4 plays in a row, Clarence Williams, William Isaac, Clarence Williams, and behind that big offensive line of Cass Tech, I think they'll get in the end zone. Now, on the other side of the coin, I think De La Salle is going to go away from the running game, and they're going to use the play pass down on the 10 and look for the tight end. So look for that to happen.
Cass Tech will be on offense as they did not win the coin toss. And they will go on offense first. And they'll be starting at the 10-yard line and facing the north goal. The advantages of being on defense first is that you can put up a good stop and possibly take it in for a touchdown. The disadvantages are, if you don't make it, you got to play a good defense. Clarence Williams on the carry, first play it into the end zone.
And Jeff, I got to tell you, Dr. Sneed and I were
and now it's up to the Cass Tech defense to put together a good defensive stand.
Well, Jeff, I was just talking to Dr. Sneed, and we both agreed that Cass should run between number 79 and 71, and they did that on the first play. They made us look like geniuses, and now we see why they used to call Dr. Sneed Coach Sneed. He called that play. And he said same thing for the two-point conversion. A man of infinite wisdom. He has proven that time and time again, and he's also proven it again today.
Cass Tech will go for the kick. Here's the snap. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So Cass Tech makes it 21-14. And we got Clarence Williams, and there's a look at the De La Salle sideline and Coach Ross McDonald.
And you're going to have a personal foul against Detroit Cass Tech, which should have never came about. You had Warren De La Salle players running into the kicker. Let's take a look at the replay for Clarence Williams' touchdown. He just burst up between the guard and the tackle on the right side, and he's in the end zone. But as I was saying, 2 De La Salle players ran into Woodard, the kicker, and the referee didn't throw a flag on that, and Woodard retaliated, and he's going to get flagged. I think it's going to cost him half the distance to the goal line.
The official indicates that the extra point is good and that the personal foul will be assessed, and they'll mark the ball half the distance to the goal line. So the Cass Tech defense, instead of starting at the 10, they'll have to put up their defense up at the 5.
Well, I'm sure Mike Harden will agree with me. They always talk about the offenses. They say it's offense for show, but when it's money time, baby, it's the defense that wins the dough. And that's what Cass Tech is going to have to do, play defense.
Here's the pitch to Melnerick, and he's wrapped up by Keith Travis. What a stop by Keith Travis, and flags are on the field again.
And that was a decleater, Jeff. What I mean by a decleater, he ran into the line and boom, he got knocked back on his butt and his cleats were out of the ground. And here we've got those referees coming into play, Jeff.
And there are the numbers on Keith Travis, and he just picked Dan Milnerick up off his feet and drove him into the turf. Textbook tackling by Keith Travis. But a penalty on the play, personal foul against the defense.
Well, Jeff, I've said it time and time again, in a ball game like this, you hate to see the ball game come down to the official pulling that yellow flag out of his pocket.
They'll mark it half the distance to the goal line. And the down remains, well, it's second down instead of first down. Here it is. Milnerick gets the call, and let's see, he's in for the touchdown. No indication yet. Let's see what the indication is. He's close, but it all depends on where they mark it.
He's not in.
No indication. And no, Milnerick did not get in for the touchdown.
Well, Jeff, I mean, it's really a moot point, but they've got two opportunities from about the half-yard line. They've only got to go a half yard, so it's going to be real tough for Cass Tech to stop them. If they can come up with some type of way to stop them, that'll be great. If not, you're going to have several Cass Tech people upset at the official's call.
And Batante is stopped. The officials indicate a touchdown on the play, but
Jeff, I saw no forward motion. His body definitely didn't cross the goal line, and the ball didn't either.
We have to take another look at that, hopefully from a ground shot from the side to see if Batante gets in on that one.
From our vantage point, Jeff, he never crossed the goal line, nor did the ball cross the goal line.
We don't have one to show you. But Batante, from our point of view, didn't look like he got in for the touchdown. But nevertheless, Sheraton is in to kick the extra point. And it's a fake as Julian looking to the end zone for 2 points, and they get it. De La Salle out to go for the 2-point conversion and defeats Cass Tech.
Wow. Wow. Well, Jeff, we're going to have controversy about this game for a while. That touchdown that was in question, that last play, from our vantage point, it definitely looked like he didn't cross the goal line, and we're sure the ball didn't cross the goal line, and we wish we had the replay to show to the fans at home. However, we don't. And then De La Salle comes out and they take advantage of maybe Cass possibly being worried about the previous play, which was the touchdown. They caught him off guard and they go for 2. And that's the ball game, folks.
A dejected Cass Tech sideline, and here's the winning touchdown, winning extra point right here as they catch it right inside the goal line, right inside the sideline marker there for the extra 2-point and the 2-point conversion. De La Salle upsets Cass Tech. We'll be right back with your final thoughts from Darrell Henry and also Walter Neal. The final score, as you see it, De La Salle continues on the road to the Silver Dome as they defeat Cass Tech 22-21.
Don't shoot. Don't shoot. If you kill me.
Stunned Lorenzo Tech falls to defeat against Warren De La Salle on some final plays that might prove Walter, where are you, baby?
Healthy kids.
We're talking to the winning coach, Coach McDonald of Warren De La Salle. Coach, talk about gambling. What made you decide to not run that play?
Okay, well, thank you. Basically, we didn't want to get into the 10-yard game with them. We thought that from 10-yard line in, they were going to be a better football team than us. So we just took a chance, and sometimes you have to take those chances, and fortunately, it paid off.
Coach, you had 4 turnovers today, Coach. Yet still, your team showed character.
I think we've shown character all year, and that's been the real key to this team and their success, that they never give up. They hang in there. They believe in what's going on. And, you know, it's a tough call when you go for 2 because sometimes you think that, you know, you're giving the game away, but it worked for us, and, you know, we certainly would take it. So 2
very well-coached teams, Coach. Your team and, of course, Cass Tech.
Cass Tech is an excellent football team. Cheryl Rowland does a great job. Clarence Williams is a great back. 42-40. There's a lot of awful good football players on this field today.
Good luck in the playoffs, Coach. All righty, bye-bye. Back up to you guys in the booth, Jeff.
Thanks very much, Walter, and I have to say congratulations to De La Salle. They played a fine game, keeping it as close as they did throughout the game, and unfortunately for Cass Tech, it had to come down to a situation of overtime and some plays at the end that might have cost them the game, especially the personal fouls at the end of the game, and the 2 personal fouls at the very end in overtime, and maybe, hey, you know, going for the kick instead of the 2-point conversion. You never know. This is high school football, though.
Well, Jeff, you're absolutely right. However, as I've stated time and time again, Jeff, a football game with 11 young men on each side of the ball playing their hearts out under these weather conditions should never, ever have to come down to whether an official has a question or any type of doubt. Now, if there was any doubt in an official's mind, a flag should not be thrown. The ball game should not come down and be decided by the referee. And I think it was, not to take anything away from Warren De La Salle, because they did a great job. However, they had only 5 yards to go to score their touchdown.
Okay, got Walter Neal down with Coach Rowland.
Well, Coach Rowland, we had a chance to talk before the game started today, and you said what they need to do is to have mental toughness. Obviously, that wasn't done.
No, it wasn't. We made too many mental mistakes, too many blown calls, especially on pass coverage. I mean, not people trying to play things that and take the game into their own hands, and you know, just didn't do what they were told to do as far as coaching was concerned.
Coaching, from the running aspect, they appeared to be not very strong, but from the passing standpoint, what do you think happened there besides them not having the mental toughness?
Well, that's a good question. We're gonna have to watch the film. But they did really take control on us on the pass. We didn't get people to get a good rush in. I guess the field conditions had something to do with it, but the field conditions were the same for them, so we make no excuses.
Coach, if you had to do it all over again, would you have gone for 2 points instead of kicking the extra point?
No.
You wouldn't second guess it. Coach, your opinion on Warren De La Salle?
Good team. Well, I mean, hey, just separated by 1 point, that's all.
Thank you, Coach Rowland. Jeff, Darrell, back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, thank you very much, Walter. And, you know, the final score, there you see it. Warren De La Salle defeats Cass Tech. Final score, 22.